Yikes, howdy. God almighty. This is Sweat Equity Podcast. I'm your host, Law Smith. Doing this intro after the interview. And it's weird because I've got guys on the other side of the glass that can see me. Almost looks like I'm talking to myself. So, like a crazy guy. Like that guy, that homeless guy that's just yelling at a wall. And you're like, man, I kind of want to know how he got there. He wasn't, he's like a 45-year-old man. He wasn't always, an ex-fisherman yelling at a wall. There's a story there. Anyway, speaking of story, this is a good talk with my buddy Victor Rivera, who is a SEO pro. He's got a company, Tampa Bay SEO Pro. And on the digital services side, that through my company, Tokabaga Consulting, I talk about SEO a lot, and it's one of those things that's really frustrating because no one really knows what it is. They've heard it. It's like it's almost in lockstep with what people think of nutrition, or what people think a good fitness regimen is. It's like everybody has wild ideas, and rarely does anybody actually know what they should be doing. So it's one of those, it was a good chat. I've been meaning to have him on for a while. And so hopefully that interview kind of helps. We kind of go over the basics. It's what you call a tease, guys. I'm a pro introer. This episode is brought to you by Grasshopper. I wish I knew how to make a grasshopper sound. Woo, woo, woo. I feel like he raises the roof as he goes. Grasshopper's it's the entrepreneur's phone. It is a business line for your celly. Don't get the one that comes. Don't go, I have Boost Mobile, so I'm going to get a second Boost Mobile line. It probably won't work because you have a Boost Mobile phone, but you know what I'm saying. If you have Sprint, you have AT&T, you have Verizon. I'm missing one, T-Mobile. Everybody just goes, I'm going to add a business line to that. And I can tell you it's not the best way to go. I get a lot of startups. I get a lot of people, what I call immature businesses in here. And I totally disagree with that strategy. Go with an app that is scalable. Go with an app that other team members can see for coverage. When you're your small office, your small team, or you're trying to do your thing on the side, that side hustle will give you credibility that you have a business line at all. So let's fight against that. You may not have a business phone number. So try grasshopper.com/sweat. That'll get you $50 off. I'm going to repeat it a couple more times because that's how it sticks in your head. But $50 off for our listeners. It helps the show. So if you like this show and you need it, at least check it out. I think we get some good juju if you just check out the link. We'll put it in the show description. So $50 off at trygrasshopper.com/sweat. I asked the ad guys, that hook this up, the middlemen, the brokers that hook up these ads. And I was like, how come someone hasn't figured out how to voice recognize when we're doing copy for an ad, and then on your phone it'll pop up, like almost like it'll slide up. It won't be annoying. I want to know, like Casper beds, they sound awesome. Grasshopper phone sounds amazing. Warby Parker, I have them now because I heard the ads. I wanted to check them out. It'd be easier to connect that as a digital marketer. Digital advertiser, I feel like that's a no-brainer, but I guess you have to have it natively within whatever app you're listening to. So your move, iTunes, your move, Laughable, that we're on. Head over there. Go on iTunes, give us a 5-star. Go on YouTube, find our channel, subscribe to that. That helps as well. And then on Facebook, we have a Facebook page. And I want to do some live stuff. I want to do some interactive stuff where people can ask questions live. It's just one of those things I got to promote, and I'm not good at promoting stuff if it's just me. So I'm getting better at that. Anyway, you need a business phone line, go to trygrasshopper.com/sweat. All right, this is fun. This is going to be good. You're going to enjoy it. I try not to make it too techy. It's I basically brought I told Victor, come in, man. Come in. Let's talk about SEO. I want you to get something out of this too. I want you to be able to pull out clips or tell clients, here's how I explain SEO, or here's how I explain. He gives out one really basic piece of information, and if you're doing your own business, it's really easy. It's like a no-brainer. We were doing it over here, and we just did it because we thought it's a thing to do. So he gives out one piece of advice that's really pragmatic, really awesome. Tampa Bay SEO Pro. Check him out, and check if he's bullshitting you or not. Look up SEO companies in Tampa, and or Tampa Bay, and see what pops up. Even if you're outside the area, guy did it. He challenged me. He said, "I'll be at the top of the rankings in 6 months for my own company just to prove it." And I go, "Cool. You do that, I'll use you a lot more. Or I'll figure out how to weave you in a lot better. I got to see if you're for real." Dude's for real. And he's the only guy that can explain SEO. Let's do this thing. Over here.
And
yeah,
we
see
are
it's
live.
red.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're not live. We're live on tape. Remember when people used to say that?
We're live for us.
Yeah, for us. I was going through Larry Sanders. You ever watch that show?
Absolutely.
And Larry Sanders, every time they bring him out, Hank Kingsley brings him out. It's like live on tape. And I was like, oh yeah, that's weird. And then I got called out for saying like, oh, I'm going to, let's get a tape of us doing this or whatever. It was either a podcast or something. And it was like tape. And I was like, oh shit. Like a bunch of 20-year-olds like, what a fucking loser. So
we're recording this on vinyl, actually.
Yeah. Let's get that mic stand a little bit lower because we are doing the video and we want people to see your face. We got no producer. So I'm the producer. Oh, that's all right. You don't need those headphones. You already got some.
Hey.
So
that looks a little better.
So I thought this would be interesting to have you in because, we've talked over the last year or so about, how to explain the digital world to people that know they need it, but they get overwhelmed very easily. And I don't have the best way of, explaining it because I get too technical. I get in the weeds. It's like if you ask John Gruden, like give me one football play, and like that's kind of how I feel sometimes. I'm starting to get better about it and catching myself, but I'll before I know it, I've been talking for 25 minutes about here's the strategy, here's what we got to do. Sluggo, get your flanker out there, and then you get your H back, and so I mix the two. But I was saying, all right, so transparency to the audience. I was like, I want you to come on. First thing I'm going to ask is, what is SEO? What do people think it is? And how do you explain it? So this I want this to be an authentic conversation, but I realize this might be a little prepared, and you talk about this a lot. So go ahead. Hit it.
Yeah, a lot of people think that SEO is some type of hocus pocus. And unfortunately, out there in our market space, in the digital market space, because it's so complex, it tends to go over people's heads a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what it really comes down to is trust. And there's a trust factor between your website and Google. So trusting that if you're a customer searching for something, they want to deliver the site that is most relevant and most helpful to the person who's searching. And so for them to have the ability to do that, they have to have trust in your site.
So you go, that's a different angle I thought you would go. Yeah, trust, that's for sure. Definitely. Because I believe that with clients, for me, the client agency relationship, there has to be trust there or else it's not going to work, because you're not going to be seeing us all the time, and so you got to pick up what I'm putting down or else it's probably not going to work out. It's probably not going to be a good fit. And I'd rather know now if you can handle that or not as a client. So trust. Okay. I like that. I like it. It's a little bit more holistic. It's a little bit bigger because, all right, what was SEO back in the day? It was like, I'm talking like GeoCities mid-90s. AOL chat was huge. What else was big at the time? LA Gear lights on your shoes.
SEO back in the day was you having a website, and you could throw linking is a big deal to a website. So if I have, for example, if my website is CNN and I put a link to your website because I say you're an authority on business consulting, that carries a lot of weight because I'm a trusted site. Well, back in the day, you could start linking to that site from every Louis Vuitton and Nike and, it's funny now, but Viagra commercial, and they would send all these garbage links to your site, and you would rank for something. And you could manipulate that now. And that's black hat today, which would get you put into the sandbox. It would tank your site. So
the sandbox, I always explain, and my SEO explanations are I just keep it very kind of, I don't get in the weeds until I call you up frantically, or I just try to go philosophically. You don't really want to game Google too much. They kind of dictate how it goes.
Absolutely. I mean, so it's a simple formula.
That's
now.
Their sandbox, essentially. That's the penalty box.
There's the penalty box, and it's a very real penalty box. And if you get stuck in there, you're stuck in there for a couple of years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not a fun place to be. It takes a very good amount of SEO to get you out of the sandbox.
So let's do another. I want another kind of way of explaining SEO. I know it's putting you on the spot, but something maybe a little bit more towards the technical. But right now, what is it right now? Because in the 90s, it was like put all these invisible links at the bottom of your Angel Fire page.
Yeah. And
that's going to get you a lot of traffic. And we didn't care about speed as much because the best you had was a 28.8K modem or something like that. Or a T1. Was it T1?
There used to be T1 lines.
I'm really digging deep.
Absolutely.
My brain I'm not good with a lot of memory. So for me, I'm like, good job. The ginkgo biloba is working. But I'm saying, like, I feel like everybody I talk to, they ask about digital marketing, but they refer to it as SEO. Like, they think SEO is the overall thing. Or like someone will hit me up about social media, but what I think they mean to say is online advertising a lot of the time. So I feel like an asshole, but I got to kind of break this down because the terminology is very elastic.
SEO is SEO. Digital marketing can be anything from your Facebook ads to your ads on any site, your banner ads. When we get down to SEO, when the brass tacks, step one, which I tell anybody who wants to know about it, is to make sure that your business information, your name, address, and phone number is the same everywhere online. Mm-hmm. And you would be surprised if I was to do an audit of XYZ company, 9.5 out of 10 would have an address that's different on Google+, that's different on their Facebook page, a phone number that's in one of these other listing sites, they call them citation sites, would be different than the phone number on their homepage. And that does one thing for Google. It takes away the trust because you're not consistent. So step one, people think, SEO, while it is pretty complex, the easiest thing you can do is to make sure your name, address, and phone number is the same everywhere.
Beautiful. This is a podcast of pragmatic advice. Like, I hate the Tim Ferriss stuff. That's why I kind of started this. That's great. Because that is like, you're right. I do have a side question. It's a little bit more advanced in the digital marketing sphere. What about, I kind of know the answer, and I want to make sure you can explain it too, is, you have a bigger company that does a bunch of different phone numbers online, but you need to have one of the Google approved kind of companies, right? So, so you can track calls, track leads through the number. It'll be like 1 digit different on Facebook than it will be on this Google ad, than it will be on the site. You have one main number on the site. No? Yeah?
Yeah, you can do call tracking numbers when you're running ad campaigns, but that is to really track the production of your campaign, right?
So not
that's
overall.
different for the search engine marketing or the search engine optimization for the principal business.
Yeah.
So if I have Fred's Plumbing, but Fred's Plumbing has a location in Tampa, Jacksonville, and Orlando, I can have 3 phone numbers and I can have 3 Google My Business pages.
Right.
But the name, address, and the phone number for each one of those areas has to be consistent. If you start running ads for tracking numbers, that's different. Don't expect those ads to help you rank for Jacksonville Plumber because they're not going to. Those are paid ads.
Right.
That's completely different than organic marketing.
Yeah, organic, for people that don't know, and we're talking SEO. So if you're searching on Google, maybe you still have an AOL account like my mom did 3 years ago. She was still paying for it.
I still have my AOL account.
Well,
please don't throw me under the bus that hard.
You got a little gray in the beard, but I mean, you kind of need to know the AOL market too. I mean, I was telling someone I've done digital ad campaigns over on AOL and kicked ass for vitamins. Like that's the older crowd.
They
my
still
mom
have
is
their
the
market
person.
share.
Right.
They still have their market share. Bing still has their market share. When you go and buy a Windows computer,
Defaults.
it defaults to Bing, and people who don't know don't change it. And listen, if you can get 25% of your business and traffic from Bing, why wouldn't you? That's a big chunk of the pie.
Yeah, and Bing has low self-esteem, so they're trying harder. So I've noticed that sometimes I can get better results, like as far as cost efficiency, ads over on Bing, relative to the size we're doing on Google. But I would say, all right, so I already lost my train of thought. See, this is where ADD goes.
I don't even see that much gray in your beard.
I've got a little bit. I'm 33, but I feel 43, if that counts. Maybe 53. I've got the old man back pain of a 53-year-old. Old man back pain's the only thing you can complain about, and no one gives a shit.
And you have old man back pain when every time you get up or sit down, you go,
I've been tossing out a lot of old man grunts this week, like, and I caught myself like, oh, that's so gross. I would say, all right, so SEO, what is SEM? Because that confuses people too. That's another acronym. There's too many acronyms.
That is the same thing. Search engine optimization, search engine marketing is pretty much the same thing. So what we were talking about earlier is the difference between organic marketing and paid, let's say, digital marketing.
Right. Oh, okay. So for people, because we're so used to this, we think sometimes you get used to thinking everybody is on the same page with what we're talking about. So I'm going to bring it back down sometimes.
Absolutely.
So if you're Googling something, you're Googling, let's go with New Era hats, custom made, because I have a bunch in here. That's the only thing I could think about. They're over there. I'm like Turtle from Entourage with all the Tampa Bay hats, and I want all the colors. Maybe I'm looking for a custom person to do one for my my logo on a hat, on a New Era hat, a fitted hat. So I type it in, and not the ads. Some people don't even know there's ads right there.
Right. The first 3 are your ads, and they have a little icon next to the address that shows that it's an ad. And then if it's a local business, maybe that you're looking to do some work with, there'll be a map pack. We like to call it the money pack, and that's usually 3 businesses.
Yeah. Top 3 reviews. Usually.
Reviews have a lot to do with it, but not always. But it has a lot to do with that first thing that I mentioned before, that trust, where your name, address, and phone number is the same everywhere.
And that's just logical. That's just basic logic. And then I'm sure you get all your clients listed on whatever amount of map sites that are out there, whatever social they're on, all that stuff. You do like quality control check on all that stuff.
Right. So anywhere a client would have a social profile or a social presence that allows for name, address, and phone number, we make sure that's consistent. It's actually one of the parts that we do for our clients because, listen, if this is first base, we can't afford any errors. So they may have 3 or 4 or 5 social profiles, but then we'll go out and build quite a few more for them.
Right.
And making sure that all of their name, address, and phone number, we call that the NAP in our vernacular, the NAP, making sure that it's all correct.
Man.
Yeah.
Every industry has their own set of acronyms. I think that's what made the 2008 crash so confusing for everybody because people just don't know anything about finance or Wall Street.
About derivatives? I couldn't even define a derivative yet. Well, we're not going to try on this podcast. I can tell you that.
Not today. Not at the end of the week and any of that. But it's a macro and micro problem, you see. No, I won't. I do find that why the crash happened really interesting. I just watched The Big Short again. Kind of got a boner watching it. But so SEO, I feel like, tell me something. Tell me what people say to you that they want SEO, and then what they actually think it is. What they think it is.
Well, I tell you If you're approaching me and you're saying I want SEO, you're sort of on the other side of a more savvy business owner, who's got a little bit of an understanding of, hey, I understand that there's maybe hundreds, if not thousands, of people every month searching for whatever product or business that I'm selling. And they understand that if I'm in that 3-pack, if I'm in that money pack, or if I'm on the first page of an organic listing, everybody who clicks on my site, comes to my site, I don't have to pay for that traffic. It's organic. Right? Now, I had to invest to get into that position.
Right.
But once I was in that position, I wasn't paying for every single click that came through.
Yeah. And it's, in an age where you can make it happen as fast as you want, I'm sure. Everything I've been obsessing about, everything falls into quality, cost, delivery. It's like project management 101 stuff. But for me, I didn't take a lot of ops classes. I didn't take a lot of project management classes. I've been reading up, the last couple of years to get better at that part because that was a weak part of my game back in the day. And now I just kind of really break a lot of stuff down as far as quality, cost, delivery. Now, no clients ever want to lose the quality part. We always say like, well, we could do all three if you kind of listen to us we just need you about 10-20% of the way. We can't do it 100% on our own, but if you listen to us exactly and get stuff to us that we need, we'll shoot for all three. Most clients get 2, and the shitty clients, the assholes, they get 1. And it's hard because this stuff is intangible. For us, we get it because we're on it all the time. You can make SEO happen pretty quickly if you had an unlimited budget, I'm sure. Not as like, how about this? Everybody thinks this stuff happens overnight.
Well, that's the biggest misunderstanding.
And I go, yeah, it's quicker than offline, sure. But online, it's going to, at the budget you've got, at the constraints we have, because you don't have a brand, you don't even have copy, you don't have a strategy laid out. This is the majority of people I talk to. Like, you don't even know what your goals are, sales-wise or leads-wise. You don't know the cost per new lead. You don't know the cost per acquisition of a client. You don't know the legacy of a client. I just talked to some orthodontist practices, and it's like, yeah, that can be a legacy client because someone comes in for 5 years. They might have brothers and sisters younger than them,
and they always have 3 kids,
or more adults are getting it done. I
absolutely.
was like, hit the Dominican market because they get them later. I noticed that when I was in the DR. But yeah, tell me about that. Well, everybody thinks this happens like right now because their interaction, I figured it out. Their interaction with the internet is right now. Everything is right now.
Well, that's our culture, though.
That's a user interface, though. You know,
we're in an instant gratification culture. We're in a drive-through. I order at the sign. I pick it up at the window. What's taking so long?
Yeah.
I tell all of my clients, I go, listen, when we start, you're going to be very excited. We're going to be getting going. You're going to see you're going to see some changes immediately because those are some infrastructure things that we had to do.
Yep.
And then what happens after 90 days, you're going to call me up and you're going to say, how come I'm not on page 1 when you were on page 50 when we started?
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to expectations. Remember, I always bring it back to that same what's trustworthy and what looks natural. So we want to do the things that are natural that a normal business would do. So we're not trying to game the system. We're not trying to do anything that's illegal or black hat. But what we're trying to do is build in efficiencies into your business, specifically into your digital presence, and then grow that presence naturally so that you can, reap the fruits of your labors later on.
Uh-huh.
It's sort of like planting an apple tree. Either you buy an apple once a day or you plant a tree, you let it grow, and you eat apples forever. And that's the same thing with organic marketing. We're going to start planting those seeds so that your digital presence grows naturally, and we help it along with some fertilizer, as they would say.
Yep.
And then you're going to have a digital presence that is trustworthy, because once you get onto the front page with Google, and once you get into those higher positions, it is very difficult for you to be unseated because you are a trusted, reliable source. I keep going back to the same thing over and over again. Don't call up an SEO and say, hey, listen, put me on first page in 60 days. That's not how it works.
Yeah. No, I mean, what about, let me ask you about this. So you get a lot of WordPress. I know we've come
gone
at
through this.
That's fine. I get it. Look, I get it. Like, and WordPress is good for what it is. The plugin factor is the main factor on the developer side.
Absolutely.
My thing is, like, I go client user first, because I don't really want to. I want them to be able to use their site just like the Apple or feed a man a fish, teach it to fish, whatever. I want them to be able to use their site, because really, for us, the development side, website development side, it's great, it's fun, it's hard, it's a difficult process, but that's the storefront to us. Everything else, tactic-wise, SEO, social media, email marketing, online advertising, those are the tactics to bring it in. In the middle is content. You got to figure out good content.
No, I agree with you 100%. And when it comes to search engine marketing or SEO, it doesn't matter really what platform you're using to a point.
Yeah. As long as it fits the constraints of, like, now mobile speed's really important.
Mobile speed, mobile friendly.
Oh man, I almost called you the other day because I was like, we're not doing well in this Google test my site. If you go to just
page speed insights.
Well, there's that, and then they made it like an even simpler one from that that has literally a big picture of a mobile phone that you type in a URL. You can type in anybody's URL.
Oh, yeah. That's just the mobile, yeah.
But, we're Squarespace heavy just because the user interface of being able to use it for the clients. And we work with a lot of service businesses, that are small, local, not quite medium-sized business. We may go WordPress on something like that because that's a little bit different of an animal SEO wise, or it's easier to implant someone like you, put them in there, drop some knowledge on there. But I would say, we were like getting all these bad speeds, and then I looked at, I had to go to Reddit and figure. I'm going down the rabbit hole. I'm freaking out because I was like, all our sites are slow, I guess, or something like that. I'm testing it in person. We always do. We always try to test on every device we can, and in enough iterations, enough browsers, all that stuff. And then I find out, like, if you have Squarespace, it'll have a bunch of false negatives or something like that. And then I went to pingdom.com, and it was like, it's fine. And then I went to whatever, there's a bunch of sister sites like Pingdom, because I was like, I don't trust anything now. And I went to a bunch of them, and they were all like, you load in under 2 seconds. I was like, what the fuck? fucking
Yeah, that's one of the
goddamn
things
Google.
I bet that it just drives us nuts as digital marketers. I can only imagine what it does to the end user, because every tool that you use shows a little bit of a different result, and not one of those tools are perfect, whether it's Google's own tools
Yeah.
or Moz for that matter.
Moz is big, yeah.
Moz used to be the biggest one, and they're still very big.
HubSpot's probably biggest, you think? Different deal.
Well, I use different. Yeah, I
Oh,
use
we got some
different
friends
tools
coming
for different situations.
Yeah.
Is that the Domino's Pizza guy? No.
That is Hector, co-founder, co-partner,
Co-conspirator.
owner of 208 Monkeys, our video sister company across the hallway. Their AC's broken, so they're coming in here.
No bueno.
Yeah, he dyed his hair. Looks like Odell Beckham. Yeah, you're on video. I think people can see you all the way in the back.
Nice.
It's Facebook Live. There's only like 1,000 people watching, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, no worries.
They just think you're soft as shit. So I would say, it's that thing of like instant gratification in everything now, and it applies in this business relationship, and it's just not. It's not the same. It's not one for one. I want to go back to that because look, everything's on demand. That's really it.
Everything is on demand.
You want a plane ticket, you don't have to go to the airport anymore. I know that's like a 20-year gap I'm going for, but like you can literally find the best price online doing a little research, or you can buy it like in a swipe. Amazon has like lulled me into a position of like, if I can't get it if I can't get it on Prime, I'm really pissed off. And I was like, Jesus Christ, that's like some weird
Ask JCPenney's and Sears and Macy's how they feel about Amazon.
I'll take Sears out of it because they own the buildings. I figured that out. I had an old boss that told me that. So they own the real estate. They can fail all they want on the inside. They still have badass real estate everywhere.
Yeah, but
I didn't know that. That's why I was
yeah.
like, how is Radio Shack still open forever?
That's still going to take them down a peg.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they suck. I'm just saying, you can go to Sears and you can haggle like crazy. It's like a bazaar. You can go in there and just...
They're selling off assets like crazy. What do they sell? They sold off their Craftsman division.
Yeah.
Selling that to pay debt. Because everything's going online. People don't... I was speaking to a colleague earlier today, and I think this goes good to your listeners out there. Mm-hmm. We live in two worlds. There's a lot of us that still live in this physical world. I'm going to do my business with a handshake. I'm going to be belly to belly with the guy, and I'm not going to talk about my business. I'm going to do all of my businesses with word of mouth. And while that has a very valid point, and there's always a need for that, the digital world is taking over.
Yeah.
The most valuable companies on this planet right now are not brick and mortar handshake companies. These are digital entities that are dominating the market space. So especially for your local business owner now, okay, who has always done business that way and is finding maybe they're losing market share, they're finding it more difficult to keep and retain clients, you have to either catch up or you're going to be left behind. And I really see that is happening more and more often with any number of different businesses.
Oh, you're blowing up. I agree. My stance, I always say, like, because my angle with what we're doing here is to try to bring a little bit of face to the digital side, which doesn't exist before. The vision of this company, the nerd agency / small medium business consulting company, that's as quick as I can kind of say it. There's no catch-all phrase, but my vision is to really bring client service, via Skype. 35% of our clients are out of out of Florida, and about half are out of the Tampa Bay area. And even people that are in this area, they'd rather not sit in traffic to meet face-to-face a lot of the time. So we do a lot of Skype. We do a lot of Google Hangout, whatever. My thing is I want to bring that face. I want to bring the old school values like that as best we can, because our services are anonymous. But I totally get it. And I say what you just said too. I say, look, your online needs to reflect what you do offline and vice versa.
Absolutely.
You can't be a badass website, slick, real awesome, and then the customer experience, client experience, depends on the company, is really shitty when they get there.
Or you're
it's
completely anonymous. Absolutely.
Right. It's going to
But
reflect.
that goes right back into what your specialty is. And another big part of SEO is the reputation management and that social media presence.
Christ,
it is becoming. It's not a luxury anymore. It's an absolute necessity. 79% of people who walk into your store have researched your company online, looked at your reviews before they walked in to make a purchase. 79%. When I saw that statistic in a lot of things that I was reading, it blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And it's, what's even funnier is like people don't even calibrate themselves. I'm like, all right, think about, you like fishing, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, did you look up, the best kind of lures for the fish you're about to get? And you're like, what? And you're like, did you look it up? Like, yeah, but I was like, yeah, that's that. Bass Pro Shop shows up first always because they dominate shit everywhere they are. We've got a huge one here in Brandon, which is like a little enclave, like a little suburban area of Tampa. There's people that listen to this outside the area. So
yeah, absolutely. It's a suburb.
And
it's actually a big suburb.
It's a big suburb. 400,000 people live there. About the Fishhawk area was over $100,000 per median income home. I had to do a bunch of research one time. Anyway, a lot of transient as well. A lot of people not from the area that moved there. But it's one of those things where people don't even realize they're doing the user part. I guess that's what gives us value, but they're doing these things and they go, oh, okay, I get it now. That's what I try to figure out with them. I'm like, what are you into? And they go, hunting. And I'm like, all right, did you look up Browning guns at any point? You're Browning brand loyal. Why are you brand loyal too? Like, oh, you had a gun when you were little. Okay. Because they figured out how to get the youth market into it. So you've been a legacy user forever.
And that doesn't happen on accident. That happens by design.
Right. And you don't even know how many messages you saw. You don't and the other part is of SEO, it's compounding, right? So it's the more traffic you get, it just can kind of keep rolling on itself.
Traffic is the lifeblood of SEO. So if you can have the best, the slickest website in the world, all of the basic components, your name, address, and phone number, everything, all the things we talk about, what we call on-page SEO, what Google looks at on your website to sort of determine what you do, your content, and everything. But if nobody's clicking on your site, you're not going anywhere.
Right. And so you have to bring people in, and a lot of people look. Content marketing is a bitch. It's hard. You have to be consistent, and you have to do it all the time. You have to have the same frequency. People expect it once you get an audience in. I fucked up with this podcast, if you really count that as, it is technically a content marketing strategy, but it really started as a passion project, and honestly, the only time I have a conversation without us looking at our phones the whole time. And so maybe it is like my therapy, I guess. But at the same time, if I'm not, I notice the numbers. If I'm not as frequent with this content, we dip. People expect it on a certain day.
Absolutely.
And so
it's got to be fresh. It's got to be relevant. It's got to speak to them. It has to engage them.
So SEO works in the background. It works while you sleep. That's the other part.
It does. So what's neat about SEO is that sort of that second component to the SEO, which is a little bit of that social media, is that a good SEO. So everybody wants to know what's a good SEO, what's a bad SEO, what should I look for? One of the things that they should bring into the conversation,
for sure.
Is something that has to do with your social media and managing your reputation, helping you manage your reputation, helping you engage your clients online, so that it drives traffic to your website, and more traffic is more widgets, it's more sales, it's more plumbing calls, it's more you name it.
So back in the day, and correct me if I'm wrong, SEO used to be traffic. It's just straight up traffic. Get
Straight up driving traffic from any source through
as
any
much as
type
you
of
can.
weird link
But
from
now it's totally different. Now the focus should be quality leads, quality traffic.
Right.
Like I tell people, yeah, you want more page views, I'll get you all the Chinese India traffic you want. It's not going to, because they think that's the metric, like
No.
page views,
Definitely
bounce rate
not.
and
Bounce
stuff.
page views and bounce
They try to
rate.
bust you on like, oh yeah, I was looking at our Google Analytics and our bounce rate. And I was like, you didn't care about the audience. I mean, you have to bring the targeted audience of sorts. It doesn't have to be like precise, but it, demographic. Just start there, or location. So tell me about that. Like
Relevancy,
SEO now, right?
Relevancy, the relevancy of your traffic. It goes back to trust. So if I'm driving
Ooh, you're
traffic,
just weaving callbacks. I like it.
absolutely. If I'm driving traffic to your website and you are an orthodontist in Brandon, but if I live in Sarasota and I'm looking for orthodontist in Sarasota, again, another city outside of Tampa, but I'm sending you to a Brandon website that is completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit your site and then I'm going to bounce. So if you have a very poor bounce rate, yeah, that does negatively affect your metrics. It affects your score. So when we set up SEO campaigns, or when you want to know what should a quality SEO be doing for you, he wants to make sure that your site is being delivered in a relevant manner, in a trustful manner to the person who's looking for your product or service.
Yeah, it's about being found, right?
It's about being found.
What about my rebranding idea for you that I was spinning out of control this morning? But I was like, this could be really good, man.
With a spyglass and a swashbuckler.
I've seen so many SEO companies that have the same kind of like, and I'm not dogging what you're doing, because we were looking up results. You were like, let me do an honest test, and I was like, that's fucking impressive, because you called it out months ago. It's like, I'm gonna be one of the top SEO companies to prove it to you that I'm gonna be up there. And sure enough, you're right on the front page, and I'm fucking impressed, because you get this called out too, like I do, which is I got to redo my site, and I've been saying that for 2 months. Is like, if you're not doing it for yourself, how can the client trust you?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I always say, like, look, clients go first before us, and we'll always do that. We do need to make time for ourselves. You can only say Carpenter's house is the worst on the block, so many times, but it is really tough when you're deep in this for yourself, for clients, and that's all you're doing.
It goes to credibility.
The last thing you want to do is really do your own shit.
Exactly.
Like, this office is like a total shithole frat house, because I just go, okay, I've got a finite amount of hours. We've got a 11-month-old and a baby girl on the way in October. And I try to do as much work as I can with 2 hands, because I can watch the kid, do some stuff on my phone, answer emails and whatnot. I can do that on the side while I'm still watching. I'm a good multitasker like that. But so like development, I need both hands, and preferably 2 screens. Ad campaigns, I need same thing. I need like a whiteboard and stuff like that. I don't need it, but I need be able to think. But if I'm here, I'm always like, I can't even spend an hour like just organizing everything, because I feel like that's a waste. That's where we're at right now. But I feel like you took the plunge of like, I'm gonna put it out there in our networking group. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna be like, I'll be on the front page, and you did it, and that's impressive. My pirate theme for you is only just to localize you. Tampa Bay SEO Pro.com. If anybody, I'll do it in the intro. I do the intro after we record this, but I'll give you a plug in there. But it's good to do it towards the end of the podcast. But I was like, look, man, you got it. I think branding wise, it doesn't help your SEO. It just helps your sticking power.
Well, who was it that said? Was it? What's the gentleman from Berkshire Hathaway? I'm having a mental block.
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett.
Uh-huh.
I
LeBron
read
James. No, Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Okay.
I heard that He goes, one of the most important things you can ever do when you're starting a new company is you have to have a great logo.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I heard that.
Yeah, it's it's intangible. It's immeasurable almost.
Look at the Apple logo. It goes to the brand. I mean, you never look at a piece of fruit the same way again.
Well, in the same respect, you say SEO is about trust, right?
Absolutely.
I say the logo, think of it as your family crest for your business. Think of it as your flag. It's the thing that is supposed to describe you in such a simplistic way. It's tough. Logos are really tough. I'd say logos, brand names, and slogans. Those are the triumvirate of like secretly really hard. And a lot of people hire they go on 99 designs to get a logo, which is fine. If you need a working place logo, go to Fiverr, whatever. Get a generic one. Just get going. Have something. But like, if you're like a established business, let's say you're over 3 years old, I think it's important to have it. And as we're trying to grow, I want the whole brand theme to kind of make sense. So the campfire logo, we're sitting around a campfire planning the next day. That's kind of the idea. So that's the whole camp theme of it. But it has a local feel because Tocobaga was the Indian tribe.
Absolutely.
In Tampa. They named the city of Tampa because Tampa means sticks of fire in their language, and so hence the logo. But I had this in my head since I read a puzzle when I was 12 that had that fun fact on it, and so like that came easy when I started this firm. For a lot of people, it's tough, but I'd say for you. If you're going Tampa, we don't have much of an identity, but you can play on, it's not like we're Philly or something like that.
Thank God.
Well, yeah, for real.
No offense to any Philadelphians, but
my wife's from right outside there, and I'm like, I like it, just not the sports fans.
Not the sports fans.
I'm cool with everything except for the sports fans. I actually really like everything there, except the Eagles fans.
Eagles fans, Phillies.
Fans. I'm still pissed about Joe Blanton in the 2008 World Series against the Rays.
Absolutely.
Fat Joe Blanton pitcher hitting a home run. Like, okay. I'm gonna get like all red.
That should have been a rain delay. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Delay.
I'm still with you. 10 years later, I'd say.
Got bitter beer face over here.
All I want to do, and I'll throw the challenge out. We can figure out how to do it. Is I think you gotta if you're going super localized, just get a little pirate love in there. It can't be. Here's the thing: can't be any worse than a magnifying glass, which is like every SEO company.
You're right. That's the first iteration of
You're
the
like,
logo
I'm a
that
guest
I
on this?
overpaid. Hey, listen, I can take criticism as good as the next guy because the only goal. Just like what I say to any of my clients, the only goal is to help you grow your company. So if I can't sit here with another professional and say, hey, you might want to tweak something and maybe pay attention.
Well, yeah, I mean,
no harm, no foul.
We as kind of feral cats of companies have to kind of keep each other in check, or else, we can hole up and not talk to anybody for a while because you can just literally talk via email, on the phone. But that's what I try to do for the video guys across the hall. 28 Monkeys, I'll just go over like Urkel every day and just go, what are we doing? What are we doing? Because they're doing it to me too now, which is great. Because you can really like think your shit doesn't stink all the time, and they'll be like, remember that that project you told me we were going to work on? We tried to work on car dealerships as a package. And I talked a lot of shit like, let's fucking do this. And then when I got lazy, they came back at me. And that's good. That's accountability. That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
That doesn't exist in the digital marketing kind of area or digital services just in general. Let's just make it broader than that,
It's a lot of lone wolves.
So, because I've been bloviating way more than I thought, I didn't realize we're about 42 minutes, I think.
You're going to have to define bloviating for me.
It's kind of being like a blowhard, like windbag.
Bloviatious. Is that a word? Bloviatious?
It is
We
in
can
this
make it a word.
on this podcast
Right now.
for sure.
Yeah, right now.
All right.
So I get your point, the different logo, because I do have a presence in every city in Tampa Bay. So I'm also on the first page for Clearwater SEO company, and I think
Scientology.
I'm on I'm on spot 11, one spot off the front page for Clearwater SEO. So I get it.
And then I'd say, like, as you build more cities into your repertoire, let's say you do make a Sarasota one that is connected.
I have a Sarasota
Okay,
page.
or let's call it Denver.
Denver.
Well, actually,
Denver SEO is good.
You wouldn't want to go there. Let's say Bentonville, because that's a small city where Walmart is. Maybe you can grab them. I would say you make it applicable to that area somehow. I don't know Bentonville that well. I've been to Texarkana, Arkansas, so there's a Ross Perot theater, I think.
I think what I want is sort of I'll want a national brand.
Sure.
Is what I'm working on next. But I love this area. I love the Tampa Bay community. I think we have a lot of really bright people here, a lot of really good businesses here. I think we are very underrepresented and underappreciated as a community, and so I really enjoy working here.
Yeah, I tell people, because we have like a lot of California clients, and I just tell them, like, think of it like going from Western Europe to Eastern Europe. Basically, the price difference. You're not paying LA prices here because we don't have the big overhead. There's just as much intelligence over here. Maybe design is a little bit behind, I'd say. Maybe graphic.
We just have a little bit more humidity. They just have to get over that part.
But I just say low self-esteem. It makes me try harder. The whole area kind of has it. So fine, yeah, that's good. I'd say you can do a pirate theme. I'm going to keep badgering you about it. Do a pirate theme, and then eventually, as you go national brand kind of thing, you can keep that. It's still the brand world. Because there's SEO companies all over the country that don't brand themselves correctly, and there's no theme. And I think the whole thing of being found, I was like, pirate maps, pirate nautical, like just all this word association came in my head while I was working out at the gym, and I was like, yeah, you got to give some love to the home team a little bit, and just like we are. You don't have to tell the story. You don't have to make it hyper localized if you think it's going to scare away a lot of people in Nashville or something like that, or Memphis. I don't any city in Tennessee really. But like I'd say, I don't know. I was like, oh man, there's potential there for a lot of cute copy. How about that? But you can be like, you can change course. You can do a lot of stuff where there's a lot of like, you can weave it into kind of the client relationship too. And all right, so I want to make sure we get this in. Any advice? I got two, and they're both advice-based. Advice to who's calling me? How dare they? I want you to give advice for the local business. Let's call it like a pizzeria. They can't afford an SEO company. Oh, we didn't even get to pricing. You want to go over that real quick?
You know what? I have...
How to price? Just
how to price? Well, listen.
How to not get ripped off?
How to not get ripped off? That's another good question. SEO can get expensive. I have a colleague of mine for a large national account that he's getting paid $50,000 a month, just from one person.
Yep.
But for local SEO, you shouldn't be paying that much. So what we've done, I can just sort of give you an example at my company.
Yeah.
What we've done is we've set up different entry points for any budget, something that could cost as little as a couple of $100s a month to make sure that all of your information is posted correctly online, to something that's $500 or $600 a month for.
We'll call that the scurvy.
Yeah, we'll call that
I'm making
the
mini
intro.
packages.
I want to just dip my toe in here and see how it works.
Yeah.
Where we can, a big thing with social media is now we have a solution to where we can manage your entire social media. We respond to all positive and negative reviews for your business online, and we post 3 times a week to your social media accounts with relevant information about your industry, and you don't have to do anything. You can just log into a dashboard and look at the results. How easy is that? We call that the hands-on SEO because really that's the pain point for a lot of local businesses. They know, geez, I know I have to do this social media thing. I know I have to do these review things. I don't have time.
Right. And it's funny you bring that up. I was just talking about I want simple dashboard reports that are a little bit interactive. That's my other kind of side thing that I've been thinking about. How to and just have little pop-outs that can explain what's what
Absolutely.
if they forget. But I'd love to walk in here, have one that had our, all our digital reports, our ad reports, just bunch of screens I can touch. I just want to touch a bunch of screens. You know what you should call that package? The flotilla.
The flotilla.
Yeah, we keep the pirate theme throughout everything. So the first ones, don't get scurvy.
Don't get scurvy.
Right. That's that package, which is, don't be embarrassed online.
Don't grow a goiter.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a goiter.
Yeah. Just keep it all pirate. You can call it a parrot package, stuff like that. There's a lot to play with there. That's all I'm saying. All right. Advice to two different people. Advice to the local and or small business owner that is trying to look for SEO help. Man, I wanted to ask you about the Shopify people too.
Oh wow, that Shopify thing is getting really crazy now.
So, all right, advice to the local or small business owner. Advice about how to even just find an SEO company, see if they're legit, or do something for themselves. Same advice, but for the Shopify, Etsy kind of person. I'm doing this thing as a side hustle at night. And then the last one is advice for someone that's trying to do their own SEO company. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Okay, so for the local business guy who...
Look, you're not going to... That literally would take 10 hours to answer all of that completely. But
I got nuggets for you.
Yeah, nuggets.
I got nuggets for you.
I like nuggets.
For the local business...
The Tampa Nugs.
The Tampa Nugs for the local business owner who needs some SEO but doesn't have a big budget.
Mm-hmm.
You
already gave that.
Go with the company that can give you the basics and make sure that you can get your information out there online correctly and do that social media part of managing your reputation and answering your reviews and doing those things that help you engage your customers. Now, that isn't necessarily traditional SEO that's going to get you to the first page of Tampa Dentist, but it's going to drive engagement with your customers and it's going to help increase your revenues. It's going to help increase your bottom line, which is fantastic. And that puts you a third of the way of doing something for SEO. Now, for the mom at home who's got a Shopify store and who's got an Etsy account and wants to sell more anklets and more bracelets online.
Anklets are back. Okay.
No, the anklets are back, and they're strong.
Maybe they never left. I don't know.
They probably didn't.
I'm not that cool.
Yeah. You have to educate yourself about email marketing.
Okay.
If you are not driving customers to your Etsy store or to your Shopify store through email marketing, through fan pages on Facebook to get email addresses and do those types of things.
Facebook groups.
Because
they automatically get added in.
You're not going to make it.
Yeah.
But it's something that you can do it takes time. It takes a little bit of learning. Takes a little bit of reading, folks. But when you do that, the email marketing for me, when you solve that, the whole email funnel marketing, it's the holy grail of 7 figures.
It's still number one.
It's number one, and it's multi-millions and millions and millions of dollars.
That's a conversation I have a lot too. A lot of people go, "Really? Email?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
And it's not spam email. It's not.
Quality.
It's not Viagra emails in your inbox. It's you give permission for somebody to send you an email because you're interested in what they have to say.
Right.
It may not be today. It's going to be on the 8th email. But on the 8th email, you're going to buy something, and then usually you're going to buy from them multiple times. And it doesn't matter if you're selling socks with kitty cats on it or if you're selling a lighter for $5 that you could have bought at the store for $1.
Convenience is king now for a lot
I
of
know
products.
people who make millions of dollars a year
Sure.
on a Shopify store.
Sure. Yeah. And
it's so
just like WordPress, they have their own kind of plug and play.
Really simple to set up. It just takes a little bit of training and going through the tutorial. It has its own e-commerce engine built into it. It has certain plugins for certain products or for easy fulfillment, but you need to invest the time and the energy in that email marketing.
Yeah. God, I'm glad you said that because I totally forgot to even bring that up. I mean, that is, and I tell, like, say you're a real estate agent, right? Just export, like, MailChimp doesn't like this ConvertKit, Constant Contact I wouldn't use, but sometimes we have to because the client wants to use it. Whatever. Those are kind of the big three in my head. And I just go, look, it may be a little uncouth, maybe not that cool, but just export all your personal emails out of Gmail, Yahoo, however many accounts you have, put it in an Excel chart or Google Docs spreadsheet, delete everybody you absolutely do not want on that, or like, one of those customer service like email addresses, delete those. It's a bitch. It's hard. It takes a while. It's boring. That'll be the best thing you'll ever do with your time, and that's already your friends and family want to know your inner circle, especially real estate. This is why I thought about it. Real estate, they all talk about marketing as like the ripple effect, or the sphere of influence. I think they call it.
Right, they call it sphere of influence.
So like, it sounds it's like solid knowledge, but I'll say like your friends and family are your core, and you always work from the inside out. Then that next level will be previous customers, prospective clients, and then what's it called? The acquaintance, friends of friends of your friends and family. Then it gets out to acquaintance level. That's kind of how I look at it. It's a ripple effect. It goes inside out.
Let me give a little shout out here to the realtors out there, because
it's tough.
20% of them make money. The other 80% of you are losing money, and you'll be out of the business in a couple of years, or your spouse is supporting you, and they are angels.
Wow.
All right.
You got to be good at contracts. That's my thing.
Listen, a lot of these people, they have people at the office that do the contracts. I would just say this to them. You need to invest your time in your social media.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you need to invest your time in your email marketing, and you have to figure it out. You have to figure it out because you have to touch people constantly. You have to be not only the social butterfly, but you have to be the digital butterfly. And when you do that, you can be really successful. But if you look at any of these other uber successful, whether it's groups or individuals, we have and I don't want to give a plug, an innocent plug here, but we have a husband and wife team in our area. They call themselves the Duo. They are probably the best real estate marketers that I've seen.
Yeah.
Because they do it on all four corners.
Well, and they do it once they get to a certain level, they just hit you over the head to make sure they're relevant all the time.
Right.
That's a whole other conversation. That's when you have a brand identity, you got that brand capital almost. That
but they started.
Oh no, they started like everybody else.
They started just like everybody else. So I give credit where credit is due. So that's my advice for the realtors out there.
Yeah, it's tough. It's gonna be really tough, and
for the people wanting to do their own SEO,
quit now.
Quit now while you're ahead.
Well, I mean, like, there's people that I feel like there's I know a lot of one-off guys that think they can do it. They're not businesses; they're freelancers of sorts, and it's usually guys on doing it on the side. I'll give you a little bit time to think. What I tell them is like, you're not ready yet. What you need to do is figure out. You can't do the cheat code stuff.
No, I'll give you the simple one.
That's what a lot of guys.
I'll give you a simple one.
Younger guys do.
I have my own business. I want to do my own SEO. I have a website. This is my peek in the box for you guys out there. A simple solution that could get you some really good results. Mm-hmm. Get a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Start making your own videos at home, no matter how ridiculous you think you are, and post a video up on your YouTube channel twice a week.
I feel like someone smart was saying this.
And make sure that your YouTube channel links back to your website.
Interesting. Oh, we were talking about this off air right before we started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to push you for pirate-themed YouTube videos.
I'm not going to show up on my YouTube videos with a patch over one eye talking about digital marketing. And they're going to wonder, how can you see both screens in your office if you only have one eye
That's
and
a
a
good
patch?
call. That's a good call. Very good call. You are susceptible for bad comments, I think. And those hurt. I've got a bunch of them.
You know, the only way that really works is if you have two monitors in one eye, they have to be stacked vertically, not horizontally.
Ooh, like the stock market guys.
Like the stock market
I
guys.
want to do that.
I got a friend of mine who's got 6, 3, and 3.
There's a philosophy that's too many extra screens actually takes away from your attention.
I'll mention that to him as he's flying to France.
Look, I'm just saying that's out there. It depends. You got to calibrate yourself. You got to know yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like having, ideally, I'd like having 3 at all times. But, I'd rather sometimes if I need to focus on one thing, it's just better to be on the laptop.
2 is good. I know
if I'm
several colleagues
mm-hmm.
that sort of mentors that sort of got me into the business and taught me the ropes.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a good mentor. That's another one. Who've made their first fortune, their first several millions off of one small MacBook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. I mean, like you can do a lot just on one screen. It's just
exactly.
You got to get your short-term memory game. That's all I think.
Patience and diligence and stick-to-itiveness. That's what is.
And if you have an
needed.
iPad, I forget the app's name. There's an app where you can just make the iPad the second screen because usually you're using the other screens as reference point, or I just need to go over there, copy and paste something.
Absolutely.
A lot of the time. All right, you feel good? We get everything out?
I'm feeling good. You know, I think we gave some people some nuggets, some basics that they can look forward to.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot more advanced that goes into there, but I think that
this is a base. I mean, you're going to come back. I want to get like a primer kind of coat on this, and then we can do more advanced one. But it's one of those things where I was telling you, I was like, I'm going to go fucking crazy if I have to explain SEO. And I'd rather be able to just point to this if I can't do it in time a lot of the time. And then, it's one of those things that you get to a certain level as a company. And to me, it's the cost of doing business. Like do you want to try to figure out budget? Do you want to do that last? Because here's my new thing. I've been saying it. And people that listen to this podcast on the reg, they're probably going to get tired of me saying this, but it's fine. I'm going to keep pushing it. Digital marketing budget. Here's simple math on how to do it. I asked a couple CPAs, CFPs. They said, yeah, figure's all right. We didn't get into the weeds, but take your gross annual revenue, whatever that is, gross, top of the line on the income statement. Now, SBA.gov, good rule of thumb, says 10 to 13% should go into marketing, right?
absolutely.
For a service business, especially because you don't have the assets a lot of the time. If you're a freelancer that doesn't have any assets kind of thing, for sure, maybe even more. You might have to spend a lot more if you're in realty.
A lot more to get some what they call breakaway speed.
Yeah. So, I like that. Get that John Ross, wide receiver for drafted out of Washington on Cincinnati Bengals. He's got that speed. Get that break off speed, and then all right. So let's call it 10%. Let's make it conservative. So take your gross annual revenue. Close your eyes if you're listening to this, but unless you're driving or jogging, don't close your eyes. We need you. We need you alive. All right, now take that 10%. We're staying conservative towards your marketing budget from your gross annual revenue, and then try to figure out what kind of business you are. We can do it really easily. We can go 50-50 on your marketing budget, online, offline. These two guys at this table, we're going to say it's probably going to be a little bit skewed to 70-30, 80-20 for a lot of service businesses for sure. Product's a little different because you might have retail space. You might have a lot of other kind of things going.
Yep.
So figure out that portfolio mix out of 100%. All right? Let's just stay 50-50. 5% of your gross annual should go to digital marketing. That's just a good spot to start. It's not, obviously every company is different. But I'd say like
And,
no one knows
remember,
how to budget this shit.
You are paying your business. When you are taking 10%, 13% of your gross revenue and you're investing it back into your business, it's almost like what you do when you pay yourself first for your 401k.
Yeah.
You're hoping you're going to get a return on investment. You know, you have to be engaged. You pick the right person to do business with. But be engaged. It's not always a set it and forget it. Be engaged and realize that for every dollar you put in, you should get $2 out. Now, hopefully you're getting $10 out, but at the minimum, for every dollar you put in, get $2 out. And I said this to a client earlier today. If you could do that, if you could invest $1 every day and get $2 out, how long would you do that?
All the time. Yeah.
In perpetuity.
Right.
And until you could figure out how to invest $1,000 a day and get then $2,000 out, and then how long would you do that? Forever and ever and ever. So,
and the digital side compounds.
Exactly.
It's exponential. It can get exponential ROI. The better you learn it, the better you do it, the better people you use, whatever it is. But it's ongoing. That's that's the blessing and a curse. It's 24/7. It works while you sleep. That's awesome.
That is it.
At the same time, that's the blessing and curse on our side. This is what we have to deal with, is coverage on that side, which I think both of us handle. But it's working 24/7, and I may have an ulcer. I don't know.
I don't know. I tell my client, listen, you can send me as many emails you want at 2 a.m. I'm not going to answer them at 2:15.
Yeah. I had someone that went over our contracts, and why does it say we can only call you between 9 and 6? And I was like, I wanted to be like, why do you think that clause is in there? We only put it in there because we had to deal with people calling all the time.
That's right.
And we plan as far ahead as we can get, because on our side, it's a lot of upfront work, a lot of upfront work. I got to get to know everything. And then we have it all set up to go as far forward as we can. And then we're going to keep continuous improvement on that. So anyway, this is a whole other section that could have been another podcast.
I think we've buttered this side of the bread quite well today.
Yeah, I feel good. All right. I appreciate you coming out. First podcast?
First podcast.
Pop that cherry. All right. Appreciate it. Peace.